Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to talk about why I wouldn't buy a Kia. In this case, it's a 2008 Kia Sportage. Now the main reason I'm not a Kia fan is because over time, they just don't hold up like better made cars do. As an example, this baby's only got 50,952 miles on it. But when I turn on the AC, no cold air. The AC compressor's already broken. And just to show the general cheapness of the vehicle, here's the sun visor. It won't stay up. It's flopping down. It's just a general show of how cheaply made these things are. If I had bought a car and at 50,000 miles, the AC compressor went out, goodbye. I would never buy another one, and I would be furious about it. Now you might think, why are people buying these things? Well, they cost less. But if you really price the differential, it isn't all that much today. For example, a 2019 Kia Sportage, it's only less than $2,000 less than the base Toyota RAV4. Now, if you go back to when this thing was new, 2008, the base price of this, $6,000 less than the base price of a Toyota RAV4. But now, it's less than $2,000 differential. So, it'd actually make more sense to buy one of these things back then. You were saving a reasonable amount of money, but today, you really aren't. And for less than $2,000, believe me, I'd buy a RAV4 long before I'd buy one of these things. Now, I've had customers with Kias that had engine problems, transmission problems, electronic problems, in this case, air conditioning compressor problems, stuff that you really don't see in the Toyotas. But I've also had customers that were relatively happy with the Kias. And the reason behind that was they didn't keep their cars all that long, or they didn't drive that many mileage. One of my customers has a 10-year-old Kia, but she's only got 60,000 miles on it. She hasn't had any real problems with it. But she's not driving it much. She was happy with the price then, and she recently got rid of the thing because she always wanted a Ford Mustang. So she got a V6 Ford Mustang, the cheapest price one she could find, and she's happy with that. But then again, if for the next 10 years she only puts on 60,000 miles, hey, you can pretty much buy anything outside of Fiat products and you won't have too many problems. Now on the plus side, these Sportages, hey, they got a lot of room inside. They got the split seats that lay back so you can carry more stuff. Asian style roof rack for extra stuff. Reasonable amount of space in the back seat. And the usual accessories of power windows, power steering, airbags. Now granted, these Sportages, they are like a small truck. They don't ride that well. And even this one's only got 60,000 miles. Hey, the struts on it already are worn out and it bounces around a lot. And if you find a low enough mileage used one, they don't have such high resale value. You compare the resale value of one of these to a RAV4. Sure, the RAV4 sometimes will be 3 or 4 times as expensive as the Kia is, if you can find a low mileage one. But I mean, even there, I'm warning you, this baby's got 50,000 and the compressor's shot already. And of course, even though they're a smaller SUV, they're still an SUV. My customer gets about 18 miles a gallon in town on this thing, and in the mid-20s on the highway, until you get into stuff like direct injection, turbochargers, CVT transmissions. And of course, when you put all that technology in a car, there's no saying how long it's going to last. From my experience, they don't last nearly as long as the non-turbocharged engines, as the non-gasoline direct engines that have regular fuel injection. You add that technology, extra pressures, things are just going to wear out faster. But the downside of this 2008 is it's a 4-cylinder engine, but it's still got the rubber timing belt that you got to change every once in a while. Heck, my 2007 Toyota Matrix, even that back then, has a timing chain, and those things basically last forever. As long as you change your oil, the chain is inside all that oil, stays lubricated, and they generally last just as long as the engine. I've seen those things with 300,000 miles and they're still original. Now there's no way you're going to get 300,000 miles out of a rubber timing belt one of these things. It's something to think about. They just are cheaper made vehicles. There's no arguing that. But heck, being cheaper made vehicles, they're not selling them that much cheaper anymore, as I said before. Yeah, $6,000 cheaper in 2008, but 2019, there was less than a $2,000 difference between the basic RAV4 and the basic Sportage. I definitely would take a RAV4 over one of these if the only thing I was saving was less than $2,000 on a new one. But as I said, if you're a gambling man or woman and you want to buy a used one, these things go a lot cheaper than the Toyotas do, and you find a low mileage one, hey, it could be a great knocking around car. Then you're only out that small amount of money instead of a whole bunch of money, say if you bought a brand new car. You can see it bounces quite a bit. Bought a car with 50,000 miles and the struts were all worn out, the air conditioning compressor broke. I'll tell you, I'd never buy another one of these things myself. Now Kia, at least in the United States, does spend a small fortune advertising their cars. And yeah, their sales have been up. Sort of like people can be fooled. They see advertisements, they think, oh, well, those are Asian cars, those are great cars, you know, I'll just buy one. Do a little research before you buy. If you're gonna get a RAV4 for less than $2,000 more than this thing, buy that. Don't even think about buying one of these. Since the price gap is shortening, but the quality gap, as far as I'm concerned, is still pretty far apart, I see no reason to go out and buy a modern Kia. Maybe a used one, like I said. Might get a really good deal on one that's still got a lot of life left in it. So now you know a little bit more about Kias and why perhaps you should look elsewhere if you're planning on buying a vehicle. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.